Hello. How's everybody doing? How's things? How's life? How's universe? How has your week been? How's things? I haven't pinned a t-shirt in like 10 years. Might do that. There you go. There's what I'm wearing. How's things? How has everybody's week been? That one should be live there. Yeah, we're good. Awesome. Well, the only vote that we've had so far is for how was your week. The answer is it over yet? So that's good. Hello, John. How you doing, man? How's things? You're so early that you're even more early than Stream Elements. Magic. How's things? How am I doing? I'm okay. It's been a busy week, but when hasn't it, I suppose? And yeah, I've had a rather interesting week when it comes to product reviews. If you haven't already seen. So yeah. Hello, Januzek. How you doing, man? Hello, Ish. How are you guys doing? Trying to make up for me being late, usually late. Nice. Hello, Agent B. How you doing? Good to hear you're okay. Yeah, it's alright. Not too bad. I mean, you know, pain as always, but what's new? But yeah, I've been like I said, busy mostly. With loads of different reviews, loads of different as I spoke about last week or the week before, sponsorships and things. Because this is essentially the what you might call money season, where all the companies tend to have the most marketing money to spend, and so this sort of you know, small chunk of time is also is kind of this helps pay for the rest of the year in terms of, you know, production. So yeah. Any new MSI sponsorships? Do you know? No, I actually haven't even reviewed any of their laptops since whenever that was, last year, I assume. But they also just haven't asked either. I've not, you know, I've not said no to any of them, because I would like to check them out. Because I'd like to see how they compare and stack up to the ones that I've been testing. So yeah. But no, to the answer to your I can only assume joke question. Hello, Simon. How you doing, man? Hello, Budget Bench. How are you? Hello, Grand Theft Auto India. Nice. Hi, if my Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3 would break, would it be repaired in a repair shop or just thrown away? So I'm not a Samsung repair technician, so I couldn't say for sure, and I'm sure that it would also depend what is broken about it. If it's something like the screen or the, you know, rear glass or rear case, whatever, then my assumption would be that they would replace it, depending on how integral those parts are, how much sort of stock of parts there are would also vary that. But in general, it's my understanding that it would be repaired. Unlike certain other devices where the company policy would be just to replace and recycle rather than repair. But yeah, I imagine, you know, if you snapped it in half, right? I would imagine they'd go, not worth fixing, have a new one. But you know, if it's a crack or a you know, like it stops turning on or something, right? Or the touchscreen stops responding, something like that, I would imagine would be repaired rather than replaced. Hello, Luca. How you doing, man? You're early today as well. You are. They'll get over it, or the reps will rotate like always. Uh, True. It's not like they. I think it's just um, the reps have rotated. To clarify, I know they hired a UK PR agency. Although there's a chance that they might have moved PR agency, so I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I think I was kind of just put on the don't send him stuff. I like don't bother asking him question list rather than the you know don't ever send him anything again list. My 650-watt power supply used to handle my 6800 XT just fine. Now I have blue screens while playing. Do you think the power supply is dying? So there can be a whole load of what do you call it? There can be a whole load of different reasons for instability. Power supply stability or power stability could potentially be an issue, but it could also be something that is a software issue. It could be a driver issue, as that wouldn't be completely uncommon on an AMD graphics card. In the grand scheme of things. So there can be a lot of different reasons why. But assuming nothing else has, changed, if you haven't updated your graphics drivers or whatever else, then the other thing that I would check is check what temperature the graphics card is running at. If it's running at, 85, 90, 95-ish, then I would call that pretty high, and so it's more likely to just be the graphics card having some issues rather than the power supply. But yeah, how old is the power supply as well? Thank you, Ish. Doing well. Hope you are good. The kick about after work was cancelled today. Ah, fair. Unfortunate, but glad to have you here. Hello, Mr. Potato, or Dr. Potato, depending on how you prefer it. I don't know. I'll refer to you. What do you prefer, Mr. Potato or Dr. Potato? Which one? How you doing, man? How's things? I never broke it. I just wanted to know if I would sometime. Nice. John, yes, yeah, yeah, very much. Hello, Jim. No worries, Mateo. It's time for in-person events again. Just got my first invite to, quote, reconnect with VPs for a mobile company next week. Nice! I had a, automotive press in-person event in July, I think it was. Sounds about right. Which was really good, actually. Had the chance to drive some fancy cars like the Porsche Taycan and the Porsche Cayman as well. Yeah, that was good, and it was quite funny because, well, masks required and all that sort of stuff, the attitude to that was very different. Like, it was technically an outdoor event, but at the same time, yeah, the attitudes were more relaxed, let's say. Have you been able to get your jabs? I'm now fully jabbed, so I'm sorted. Porsche or Porsche. Well, I'm not American, so I don't say Porsche. Grand Theft Auto India. I appreciate the need for closed captions. However, advertising me you or someone you know's services in a live stream chat is probably not the best way to go about doing that. Yes, I can definitely imagine an idiot like me questioning PewDiePie's dominance in the YouTube market very soon, in fact. It's Porsche. Leviosa. Oh dear. I've had jabs since early July, but editor-in-chief just got COVID despite being double jabs. Ah, fair. Well, unlucky. Hope they're alright. And yes, it's not a I suppose magic bullet. It doesn't necessarily guarantee no infection. It's more to help limit the what you call it? Come on, brain. Brain's gone dead. Side effects. Symptoms. Thank you. That one. Than it is to outright, you know, eradicate it completely. Hello, Chris. How you doing, man? How's things? I also have an invite to a press event in Hawaii in December. Nice. Thank you, Madrasbees, for subscribing on YouTube. Glad to have you. I mean, there's a good chance that you're not actually watching this stream. You just subscribed at some point on one of the videos and it's still popping you up, so nice. But yes, if you are here, hello. I had an invite to a press event in Hawaii in December. That's going to be rough to get to. I hope they're covering your you know, flights and expenses. That's what's happened with most of my actually most of my trips that aren't, you know, like to you know, like the Insomnia Gaming Festival when that was a thing, or EGX or whatever. Like most of my international what you call it, travel, I suppose, is expensed. Yeah, the covering expenses. Might need to spend 2 weeks in Canada in quarantine to get it though. Get to it though. Right. True. That's fair. And it's also just quite a long trip. Is it for a company that we would know, perhaps? I mean, I assume if they're willing to fly press out to Hawaii, then yes. But does it begin with an A? Is what I'm asking. Hello, Antonio. How you doing, man? How's things? It's been a while. Didn't we meet for the first time at an international event? Yes. Was it Computex? I think that was the whole MSI Dragon Squad thing where they sent me and a streamer who then stopped streaming. Not all that long after, to Taipei, along with Wendo from Level and Tex and a few other people, and then they wanted to sort of control the entire you know, my entire time at Computex. They'd spent one of the 3 days out at tea plantation, which was both great and fun, but also especially because it was my first time at Computex, quite annoying that they were taking I think it was like the second day, and we only had like half a day on the first day, and then I had a little bit of time on the third, but yeah. Yeah, you were chilling at the Be Quiet booth, and I was rushing around like a madman trying to film things, um, while being in pain actually, because that Computex was like absolute hell because it was the first uh, international event that I had um, the joint pain, and I walked something like 15 kilometers um, with a swollen right foot. I rocked up to the court to the Grand Hyatt um, to see the Compusec the Corsair booth uh, and the PR rep who is actually still at Corsair, who's just gone on holiday. Pascal offered me some ibuprofen for the pain. It sounds like the first two times at Computex that was with ECS, 1 day out, which wasn't useful. Yes, that's that. Um, I've been working off from home for some time, uh, collecting that life needed paper. Nice. Finally some days off, then going back. Nice one. Well, I'm glad to have you on your days off. Um, Information technology and gaming. I wanted to ask, do you think a 650 watt deep cool? But my eyes are going. MV2L can handle an i5 11500 and a 3060 Ti. After adding total watts in the system, I get 545, multiplying by 1.5. Recommended to get power supply, I get 817. Interesting. So the um, the answer should be yes to the 650 watt running the. It's mostly the 3060 Ti. The 11500, I think in my testing with it peaked at about 120 or so watts total, maybe a touch higher for short boosts, but yeah, you're looking at sort of 120 watts for that, and then the 3060 Ti in theory should be around 70 watts or maybe 210. I can't remember, something around there. So you're looking at about 300 watts total. The caveat is that the 3060 Ti may have the same sort of inrush spikes, the surge power demand that can trip power supplies over current protection, which especially for the 3070 and 3080s, and especially the earlier ones, and actually especially the 3090s, you needed, you know, 2 times the power supply to run them than was in theory recommended. But yes, the 650 watt should be pretty decent. That's what I would recommend if I was going to build a system with that spec. Hello, Gavin. How you doing, man? It's a long walk around Computex over the whole event. It is not only around the halls, but then to the various ones, to the Hyatt and all that. For some reason, I thought you were based in Scotland. I was about 12 years ago. It's probably more than that now, actually. Jeez. Yes. Um, Something like 14. Anyway, no. Sadly, I'm not anymore. Finally ordered new case stands today. Nice. Having a 750 watt power supply, a 15900X, and 3080 Ti is fine, right? Especially with 9 fans now. Nice. I would call that on the edge. In theory, it should be okay. In theory, it should be, you know, a good, what do you call it? Like that's what you should roughly have. Like I said, the spikes may cause you problems, but as long as it's not, you know, blue screening or just generally cutting out completely, yeah. I run all my systems with a 3070 and above with an 850 watt minimum. Yeah, that's kind of what I was alluding to. Like, if it works for you, cool. If it's you know acting instably, then yes. How do you do a build video when you need half of the parts from your recording rig? Nice. It, you just have to get more. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, you know, I when recording stuff, you know, I record to camera, and then swap back over. But yeah, that's must be tricky. My days off, a bit of 5700G, 32 gig of 3200 CL16 RAM, and a 2TB 2.5-inch NVMe SSD. Bought a new 1080p monitor. Surprised how good it runs. Could even play some games at medium high settings. Nice, nice. Gavin, are you in Scotland? I didn't, I didn't, I didn't think that. Hours record to OBS. True, but you use a webcam or capture card rather than a say DSLR, right? Um, Good old Gretna. Ah, nice, nice. Based here there. Oh, nice one. Awesome. Do you run into Matt? I suppose you don't anymore because he quit Vortex. Matt Hodgson, because he's in that neck of the woods as well. But he quit to. I think he's doing fiber installation actually. I think, if I remember rightly. Yeah. DSLR G85 to capture card. Right, I see. Is there any possibility of just sticking an SD card in and going at it? Need to learn to vlog. Oh god, don't. It's terrible. You have to like hold a camera out in your arm and it's not great. You can put a line in for me then. Yeah, send me a message. Sorry if I missed anything, by the way. Do you think a 5600X CPU is the new 2600? A lot of people will keep it for a long while because it's good enough. Quite possibly. I mean, a lot of people were keeping anything from that, 1600, 2600, 3600 sort of class. With obviously the 5600X, there's a fairly substantial overall performance gain. So between those previous generations, so you can it would make sense for people who are building now, which actually at least based on the whole YouTube views market for tech content, the assumption is that there's less people actually building at the moment anyway. But for the people who are building now, who are buying the 5600X, I can see that being a good enough until we're at a point where many core CPUs are significantly beneficial compared to 6 or 8 that we have now, right? So yes, hypothetically, and also because this is the last generation that will at least reportedly use DDR4 instead of DDR5, and so any upgrades from now wouldn't be a drop-in replacement. They would require new RAM and a new motherboard, obviously, whereas people who still have potentially even as old as a 1600, 2600 or 3600 might just maybe be able to BIOS update and drop in a 5600X and not need to upgrade anything else. Maybe a cooler, maybe, but yeah. Do educational videos and concepts, not reviews, seem to be doing better these days? Have you tested the Huawei Mate View? I just bought one, £600 with £200 cashback. I do educational content on concepts. The whole Tech Explained series is pretty much exactly what that is. Although the last Tech Explained video has less views than average. The one before that has less views than average. So yeah, it's I'm trying. I'm trying. DDR5 RAM is not cheap. That's also true. I mean, that's kind of chicken and egg in terms of demand will then generate an increase in supply by increased investment in infrastructure to manufacture it. Blah 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 blah. Cycle repeats. But yes, it is exorbitantly expensive at the moment. For cooling, I got a Be Quiet Dark Rock 4 Pro 4. Nice. For the 5700G. I imagine that's going to be what you call it? Just plenty. Gotta pay that early adopters fee. Indeed, DDR5 is the chicken. You batter it, deep fry it, and that's when you get crispy bits. Thank you, Docked Potato, for that wonderful insight. A lot of the new boards will still be based on DDR4 for 12th gen. Oh, that's right, because the Alder Lake chips are meant to support both DDR4 and DDR5, which then gives a more soft transition, in theory anyway, although again in practice it mostly just comes down to volume. But yes, when I said the last version that supports DDR4, I was specifically talking about AMD owners who have those older, first, second, or third gen, whatever, and will be, potentially choosing to not upgrade because, what is it, Zen 4 now? Is expected to only support DDR5 or a hard switch rather than a more soft switch that Intel is technically doing. Although again, actually, as Oscar points out, it's going to be a mess because it's going to be a case of when you go to buy one of those CPUs, if that split is correct, and then it's going to be up to consumers to purchase not only the right motherboard, which is already a relatively kind of, I suppose, difficult process, because not only do you have so many different chipset options, like the current gen we have, what is it, H510, B560 and Z590, right? I'm getting that right? I think it is. Anyway, you already have all of those options, and then all of the different options for each of the motherboards, but you then have to make sure that motherboard supports either DDR4 or DDR5, and then buy the right one, right? So, yes. Ian, no, I haven't, as of yet. I was told that, I think it was ASUS were going to send me an NDA, but I don't believe that I was sent anything, and I've definitely not been given any, non, under NDA information, right? Gavin, my assumption would be that the physical connector, the physical slot, would be different in the same way that DDR2 to 3 to 4 is different. So unless one, if I'm wrong on that, then hypothetically, the come on, brain. hypothetically, yes, they could, but in practice, again, my assumption is that there will be a physical connector difference that will then force compatibility with one or the other. But that's not a piece of verified information. So yeah. Oh, like you mean like physically multiple, like having physical, a set of DDR4 and a set of DDR5 slots. Um, Again, hypothetically, they could. I imagine that would add um, more complexity and cost than would then be negated by you just buying some DDR5 instead. Um, but yeah. Oh right, Christ. So uh, my assumption would be that the much like with Skylake as well, technically that supported um, DDR3 and 4, although I think it was technically DDR3 low power, whatever. But anyway, technically it supported both, but it was a hard switch to DDR4 for those boards, except for in some very rare cases where you could find some, you know, unique options. So yeah, that was my assumption. My assumption would be that they most motherboard vendors would do the hard switch, although I guess it would also depend on the what you call it, how well DDR4 is supported on those chips. Because if it's very well supported, just as if you weren't running it, then I could see that being something that the motherboard vendors would sell as a budget or a value option to save some money rather than going with DDR5. But yeah, I'm still on DDR3 at this rate. I'll probably end up skipping DDR4 and go straight to DDR5. That's fair. What chip are you running on? I forgot. I have forgotten. The Intel event was on October 27th, 28th, but has just gone virtual. Ah, fair. So I think it was Asus that told me that I am supposedly getting some chips from Intel, or like I'm on the list to get them. But the fact that I'm talking about any of this should tell you that I have not been spoken to by Intel about any of this. In fact, I'm not sure that I even got a press email to tell me that the Intel Architecture Day was happening. I just had to find out about it and then watch it afterwards, actually. So yeah, my communication with them can vary. Do you think I should replace my CMOS battery on the Z390 Taichi? Randomly gets stuck at the BIOS logo after booting from a full shutdown and requires a restart. That's an interesting problem. So the BIOS battery really doesn't tend to run out on many, if any, boards that I've potentially ever used. I mean, if you're talking like 5 or 10 years, whatever, sure, but even boards that support, I think the oldest that I currently have is, I would assume, Z97 days, so not insanely old, but any one of those would still, I can still plug them in, run them, and it's all good. So you can, there's no harm in doing it, other than that it will reset all of your BIOS settings. If you're having issues with it, the Taichi should have either a debug display, like a dual 7-segment display, or some little LEDs for the CPU, RAM, VGA, and boot device, or potentially both, actually. So you can see what code it gets stuck at on the little 7-segment display, or even just what device it gets stuck at. And you can also try both resetting the BIOS and updating it if you haven't already. But like I said, there isn't all that much kind of dangerous about swapping out the batteries, because it's just a what you call it, CR032, standard, you know, watch battery or whatever, and they're not exactly expensive, so yeah. Oh yeah, 10 CR032s are a few quid. Might as well replace 3 this year. There you go. Watched a video the other day where a PC refused to boot and the CMOS battery was dead, and replacing it fixed the issue. Fair play. I mean, it's obviously a thing that can fail and can go wrong. So, like I said, beyond resetting, by taking it out, you reset your BIOS settings. It's you know, fine. I managed to brick my MSI X570 Tomahawk Wi-Fi motherboard due to a faulty BIOS. No support from MSI. I know you're shocked. Nice. So to go back to the retailer, which was Amazon, who gave me a replacement. I mean, fair enough. At least you got it replaced, even if you weren't able to, you know, have support to repair it. But I assume the replacement is working okay. And also, hello Hayden. How you doing, man? And hello the Hornet. I didn't say hello, but earlier, but hello. And also, hello Essentialist. I don't think I said hello to you either. What I don't tend to keep up with you know, everything on the internet. So what is the issues with NordVPN to make you not want them to be sponsoring people? Oh, it's the Xeons you have, right? That's it. 2014. I had planned to fully upgrade the rig in 2020. Then 2020 happened. Yeah, fair. What's worse is being sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Yeah. I think, you know, so ironically, I turned down a great number of sponsorship, you know, I say opportunities, requests, probably a better term, on a I would say somewhere between daily and hourly basis. You know, some of them are absolutely dreadful. I would say about half of them are scams. However, I think that would probably be one of the ones that it would just be insta no. NordVPN is supposedly a honeypot for some government agencies to spy, but that's all alleged. Right. Okay. Interesting. Well, I'll have a look after the stream, see what I can see. Media MZ keeps emailing me. I keep having YouTube, like YouTube partner or like MCNs email me as well. Who's the? Can't remember what their name is. Media Cube, I think is why I remembered them. When you said Media MZ, but yeah, that I keep having them email me, and I keep well, I've just set a spam filter for it now because I keep telling them to stop emailing me, and they keep doing it, so they're going straight into the deleted folder. Are you planning on testing latency on DLSS versus non-DLSS? That's interesting. Could be an interesting test, actually. Especially, what game is it that now supports both DLSS and FSR? I can't remember. But it would be interesting to see how they compare, especially because at some point I think it was when NVIDIA Reflex came out, which was a very similar feature to AMD Radeon anti-lag. But yeah, the when I tested that, I tested two cards side by side, and essentially used the difference between, one on versus one off, for the different cards. So yeah, I've never heard about DLSS latency. Well, my understanding is that it adds some latency because what it's doing multi-frame analysis on your what's being displayed, and so as it's doing that multi-frame analysis, that takes some amount of time, and while you can still have a great amount of FPS, it can even increase your FPS, you still have it's essentially shifting the FPS effectively back in time, so you're seeing a slightly more outdated version because it's doing that processing in front rather than not doing the processing and keeping it more real time. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'll add that to the notes so that I don't forget. That's a good point. I have to send back the 6600 XT, which I think leaves me without any 6000 series AMD GPUs, so I might have to pester some people or something. Get my hands on one. I know that it works on other stuff, but if I'm gonna compare, a 3060 Ti or whatever, it'd be nice to have a 6600 XT or something like that to be able to compare against. So we'll see. Hello, Michael. How you doing, man? How's things? Albon to Williams. He'll replace Hamilton in 2024. Nice. I saw that. I think the only seat I want to say that's still left unconfirmed is Giovinazzi's, because Kimi's retiring, Bottas is taking Kimi's seat, Russell's taking Bottas' seat, Albon's taking Russell's seat, Latifi's confirmed, Hamilton's confirmed. I'm pretty sure the Red Bull drivers are, both Red Bull teams, AlphaTauri and Red Bull, are confirmed. Who else we got? I assume Haas is confirmed, but who knows? Who knows if they'll even still be in the sport in a year. Ferrari, I'm pretty sure they're confirmed. I'm fairly certain McLaren are confirmed for next year as well. Yeah. De Vries or Schwartzman to Giovinazzi seats. Yeah, I've heard that. I just don't know if they were planning on keeping, like, if Giovinazzi was staying or not. NordVPN was hacked, lied about it, and leaked around 2,000 accounts. Right, I see. And what do you call it? Come on, brain. Essentialist was talking about ExpressVPN, which has offices in Hong Kong but claims that it doesn't. Right, gotcha. It's all mad. Haspel will be renamed Mazepin. Well, I mean, Mazepin. Gotta keep with the. Have you seen the video of Gunter giving Nikita the spinning top? PIA is owned by yes, who is it? I can't remember. but yes, they are. The same company that owns CyberGhost. Um, uh, However, they what you call it? Still, come on. I remember Linus doing an interview with them to explain what was happening and what was changing, if anything. Cape, that's the one. So yes, I feel like with the majority of them, it's something that you should generally take with perhaps don't trust any of them entirely. For me, I personally have PIA and mostly use it for testing locally, if I'm being honest, because it's quite useful to have all of the different locations. Occasionally, I turn it on for a bit of security in from ISP and DNS, but yeah, kind of asterisk on them all. The new Ferrari CEO is the former CEO of a semiconductor company called ST Micro. As in, what's ST? Well, my brain's failing me, but nice. I mean, I suppose it kind of makes sense in terms of a what you call it? Come on. My brain is just shutting down. It's a sensible move in the age of everything is microcontrollers. So yeah, need more coffee. Unfortunately, I don't drink coffee. I don't drink alcohol. I don't do drugs that aren't prescribed to me. Mostly because I have a lot of drugs prescribed to me, including what's this called? Amphetamines, opiates, and what else am I on? Many other things. I do occasionally take caffeine pills though for the ADHD. Trick is to not having to trust the VPN. Just don't do illegal stuff. Ha 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 ha. Drugs are fun, kids. Only when doctors prescribe them to you. Why? Why do I take? I assume the question is why do I have all of these drugs? The answer is I have a lot of things wrong with me. I bear not list it all, but the long story short is that you can mostly pick a part of my body and there's something wrong with it. Whether that's my eyes, which are literally falling apart, the front layer of my cornea is detaching from the rest of it, or kind of does and it doesn't. It kind of comes and goes. It's great. I have many things wrong with my head, including what's it called, being neurodivergent with ADHD, and anxiety and depression. I also my intestines don't work. I get many stomach problems, and the pain in every single joint in my body that's non-stop, and I don't think I've had a pain-free day in about 5 years. Buy new eyes with NordVPN sponsorship money. Yes. I mean, no, but yes. As long as you're not poofing whatever the horse dewormer. Yes, no, God no. Again, I take what's prescribed to me, not what I think I, deserve or need, according to the internet. As much as I am, let's say, incredibly frustrated with my experience of, healthcare in the UK, I still, uh, um, as what do they call it? Hamilton. The quote from Hamilton from George Washington is, "I'm too sensible of my defects to not or to believe that me searching on Google is in any way better than someone who spent like 7 or 8 years at university studying and then, you know, tens of years in the field treating stuff." So yeah. Did you just do a Nord ad or something while the Nord comments? I got approached by NordPass. No, I haven't done a Nord ad in probably a year or two. I probably still have the affiliate link in my descriptions because I don't update things. But yeah, no, I think it was just a something that popped up in the chat, as does happen. But yeah, I was actually, in fact, I'm actually doing a sponsor video with Synology with their new password manager, especially because they all have, they actually have a white paper on everything that they do, which is kind of nice. The affiliate one being next to your PAA one. Sounds about right. I mean, it's probably still in the description even of this, actually. Where's the... Will it let me edit the description? Yes, there is. There's a PIA and NordVPN on Humble Bundle and t-shirts and web hosting and Bitcoin donations. Because why not? Best of luck, Budget Bench. Keep all of the fingers and toes crossed. And may the gods of processors have mercy. See, Ish, I wholly agree with you, and yet I also use them. It's in theory it is a terrible idea because it is a complete single point of failure. Although in practice, you are much more likely to just forget or reuse or even just pick say password system that lets you you know, somewhat easily remember it, but at the same time you then have a much more crackable password than a complete random string of numbers, letters, and symbols for as long as the password box allows. So it's a trade-off, I think. Write them all down in a used tissue. Do you know, that would be pretty secure. Write all my passwords on a physical piece of paper. That's also actually, these days, a much more secure way of doing things. I'm now totally reliant on Bitwarden. I really need to set up two-factor authentication. Actually, I better get to that now. Nice. I also use that, although I've just started using the Synology one, which is fully free with very little in the way of limitations with it, which is quite nice. And they even have a like file transfer thing, like WeTransfer, but secure, which is kind of nice. But yeah. 4-step off is truly overkill. Nice. What is that? Like password, phone, carrier pigeon, like star pattern? What are the steps there? I have a book with my passwords in it. Hack that. Nice. What even is 4-step oath? Just give me your dress and a crowbar. That'd work. Also, HME, thank you very much. It's all good. Well, it's not all good, obviously, but it's life. I'm getting on with it. Oh, actually, oh, hold on. Let me answer an actual tech question first. Do you think this GPU pricing trend of non-MSRP will continue until next year? So yes, in theory, until supply potentially greatly exceeds demand, the imbalance of pricing is likely to stay. Once it's at a point where supply is high enough that they've saturated the market with supply, which, to be honest, there's a good chance that they may deliberately not do that. But anyway, that then means that the prices would come down, just economics. So yes, but I don't expect that supply will be significantly increased in the grand scheme of things. There are a number of cards that, at least the last time I checked, which was probably a week or two ago, that were all still in stock. There are still a number of specific models and stuff that aren't, but on the whole, it does seem to be getting better. That probably won't happen until crypto crashes. Yeah, true. No worries, Taiwan. Catch you later. I don't think prices will ever get back down to MSRP due to too many external factors. That's also true. Again, my caveat was all encompassing. Yeah. Right, the thing I was going to tell you about that I'm incredibly excited about. I made a product. You can't buy it yet, but it's a thing. It's a thing, and it's got a little sensor on it. Yeah. So this will go in a case that I'm designing. I have shown the many versions of this in the past, including the development board version, but I think this is much cleaner and nicer. But yeah, this, when it's done, is a monitor response time tester. That will be in a little case. You plug it in. It has some elastic. You strap it to your monitor, and then when you press the button, or launch the program, and then press the button, the little sensor reads the light that's on your screen, and the program that the effectively Unreal Engine 4 game that I wrote, which isn't really a game, it's just a menu that covers your screen with an entire RGB color. Well, grayscale RGB color. Anyway, this sends a load of key presses to the game to change the color, and it records with that little sensor how long those transitions take, or more specifically, it just records a whole load of data points, and it saves those data points to a file, and when it's done, you have it will then go and process all of those data points, which I'm incredibly pleased about, because turns out that detecting what are called change points, which is if you look at a line chart, essentially detecting at what point it starts changing direction, finding those points is really difficult. I used a pre-made tool, or a pre-made function to try and find that, but in practice it was awful, so I hand wrote the code to go check through it, and the thing that I'm probably the most proud of is that not only does it go and find all of the points accurate to within probably 5 samples out of 6,000, but it does all 110 different results that this thing will capture in 16 milliseconds. The pre-made function that I tried took 4.3 seconds to not find the correct values in one result. So I'm very pleased with that. But I'm also very pleased with the hardware. It came out really well. I'm incredibly pleased with it, and it's just something that I'm excited about. Yeah. And yes, I will have a full video on everything, including how it works, what it does, how I made it, and all of that jazz. When it's done. And I do have an entire bag of PCBs. Technically 2 bags actually, because one of them is the Switch PCB and one of them is the board PCB, but that's a bare one. Yeah, that's that. Nvidia didn't see that coming when they sent you out at. No, they didn't. And technically, this could actually be used for input lag testing. It would just take a slight revision to the code that runs on it to do that, but it certainly could. Be a bit more difficult. It's not what I've necessarily written it for, but the hardware would support it, right? OSRTC is the best tool on the market, yeah? Definitely, especially because it's the only one that I could find. Held on by elastic bands. What about setup pads? It's held on by well, I suppose it technically is an elastic band. It's elastic, ring kind of thing. But the elastic bands are the best cost-effective solution to hold it to the monitor without marking the monitor or anything or anyway. It runs on Arduino, so how hard could it be? Instant flashbacks to the first Arduino class. Actually quite, because it's not actually just a normal Arduino, it's an Adafruit ITZY M4, which is an ARM CPU. It's the SAMD 51 specifically, and I have read the I've gone through the 6,000 page datasheet for that CPU probably like 20 times now. No, it's more than that actually, a whole load of times, just to get things like the analog to digital converter working at the right precision and speed. And then there was the splitting the ADCs to make sure that they work separately, because I'm measuring 5 volts, and yeah. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. Thank you very much for watching. As always, plenty of links in the description, including NordVPN, or PIA actually, there's both there, or whatever else you like. And merch, hoodie, t-shirts, this one, all that jazz. And yeah, no, it doesn't mind crypto, and it never will. Bye. Have a good week, guys. See you later.